Johnny like a melody, 3x3 legend in the house, and he's solving like na 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 every day, trying to be better than he hang. Johnny like a melody, 3x3 legend in the house, and he's solving like na 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 every day, trying to be better than he hang. Remember the first solve of worlds and it looked like he would win, thinking everything's fine, but the very next time he took the dub again. Who would have ever knew that he would be on top of the game? He's real worldwide, that's how we do, and everybody knows his name. ZB, like nobody else knows. ZB, got the TPS. ZB, got the total control. You know that he's the best. Johnny like a melody, 3x3 legend in the house, and he's solving like na 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 every day, trying to be better than he hang. Johnny like a melody, 3x3 legend in the house, and he's solving like na 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 every day, trying to be better than he hang. Johnny like a melody, 3x3 legend in the house, and he's solving like na 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 every day, trying to be better than he hang.
A 708!
No lucky turning here, and see you next week.
I want to keep going. Maybe that's what Dylan's trying to channel.
The Emerald City, evergreen forest, beautiful waters, and an absolutely picture-perfect day overlooking Queen Anne just northwest of Seattle. Well, from the docks of Queen Anne, we bring you to the arcade, where it is time for PSL Seattle, the 9th competition overall in the Premier Speedcubing League. Hi again, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on Speedcubing TV. I'm Michael Rosenkrantz. He's the 52-time gold medalist, Luke Greiser. Luke, glad to have you along the broadcast today, man. Ready for some more PSL?
Yeah, man, I'm very happy to be here. Someone else was supposed to do color commentary that dropped out, and about 24 hours ago, I got a text from Mr. Matthew Mayernick saying, hey, what you doing Sunday night? You want to commentate? And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm always down to commentate some PSL. So looking forward to some good solves.
The bat signal was put out, and Luke answered the call. Great to have you here, Luke. And look, we got an exciting competition here ahead of us. Well, back on October 12th, 2025, Dylan Miller claimed his first PSL title. He's already claimed one in Oregon at the start of Season 2, but you know Dylan's always looking for more.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of the best competitors that there is in the United States right now. I know that he's definitely going after that podium at North American Champs coming up in this July. So I think he's using every competitive opportunity he can to prep for that moment, and he's going to have some fun along the way.
Absolutely. He's not the only one that's returning. 4 additional cubers are returning for PSL Seattle, those being Samir Agarwal, Do Kwang Hung, William Greninger, and Jo Hung Sung. All have been in the game for a long time, and a couple of them have made some deep runs. Samir, last time in Seattle, placed second against Dylan, who eventually took that title. And who knows, it could be all up to how the solves are looking down to today for a deep run, because anybody has potential.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, how everyone is sub-7 or sub-7 potential here today. Obviously, Dylan and Samir, and maybe DQH as well, seem like the runaway favorites for the top 3 spots. But Samir has some of the best turning in 3x3 that I've ever seen. Some really, really smooth turning, especially when he gets into that flow state. I'm not too familiar with DQH's 3x3, but I do know that he's very fast. So those two are the sneaker picks that could definitely give Dylan a run for his money.
No doubt, 6th seed entering today was Walter Wilson, who won the intermediate bracket in the finals over Anish Garora with a mid-6th second solve was what he had to clinch. And your 6 seeds are set, and they are going like this. Again, seeds 1 through 6 go like this. Dylan Miller's your top seed. You'll see him in the winners semifinals. Samir Agarwal enters as the 2nd seed. He'll also be in winners semifinals, awaiting the winner of Do Kwong and Walter. Your first match that you're going to get to see is William Greninger taking on Jo Hung Sung, 3 versus 5. And then 4th and 6th seeds are going to be Do Kwang Hung and Walter Wilson. Luke, it's been a long time coming for PSL Seattle. I know it's only a month that passes every time, but every time it just seems that month has go by. It's just so much anticipation up to these kind of head-to-head events. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot of anticipation being built up for good reason, too. This is a very intense format for a very intense sport as well, especially some of these wild card matches. These first 2 matchups are going to be very, very interesting to see, especially because it feels like kind of anything can happen at this point. So looking forward to seeing what factors go into people doing well, what factors in this arcade are leading to people not doing as well as they would in like a competition environment. So looking forward to analyzing some of that stuff as the color commentator for today.
No doubt. Great to have you along, Luke. Great to have you along watching on YouTube on Speedcubing TV. I think we're just to get ready to get yourself introduced to our competitors. So let's head out to GameWorks Arcade and send it down to the CEO of PSL, Michael Chai.
In our 5th seed, our champion from last PSL Seattle's intermediate division, Jo Hang Sun! In our 4th seed competitor from Oregon, William Greninger. And our number 3 seed, he is the hometown hero, Samir Agarwal. And our number 2 seed, coming back for another chance, Do Kwang Hung. Our number 1 overall seed, he has already punched his ticket to Vegas. Here for more, Dylan Miller! Ladies and gentlemen, one more big round of applause for our professional division. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our first match, William Greninger versus Jo Hang Sun. Competitors, go ahead and take a seat, and Will and Jo Hang, please stay for the coin flip.
Well, here's your first matchup, just getting it set and ready to go here. William Greninger taking on Jo Hung Sun. Let's send it down to Michael Chai.
Quarterfinals. The match is first to 1 set. Best 3 out of 5 solves wins a set. You're each allocated 1 2-minute timeout. William, you are the higher seed. Would you like to go heads or tails?
I'll go heads.
He selected heads. And it is tails. Jo Hung, would you like to go first or second?
I like to go first.
And Jo Hang has opted to go first. To the solving station, Jo Hang. William to the bench. Please submit your puzzles in your personal cellular devices.
So there you go. Jo Hung Sun wins the coin toss. Puzzles are being dropped off right now, and we are just about set and ready to go here between William Greninger and Jo Hung Sun. So glad to have you along on this Sunday, May 17th of 2026, just at around 3:19 local time in Seattle, Washington, and about 6:19 Eastern time zone where we are right now. Joe Hung gonna get things kicked off here in this first round of the winners round. Again, best of one, so the first to one set will win. It's going to be a very quick round, and Luke, I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go too. I got some views from behind the scenes where it looked like Samir and Dylan were warming up, and the lighting in the warm-up area is not nearly as good as the lighting up on the competition area. That might affect be one of the effects that we talked about in quality of solves today in the arcade environment.
No, it's so important, just the different factors that this arcade can bring. You mentioned the lighting, and also there's a whole bunch of sounds going on between whole different arcade games, people having fun. So it's going to be a tough environment for these competitors today to try and balance that out and keep their minds at ease. Joe Hung is ready, and we are set and ready to go here as he begins the first inspection of PSL Seattle. And off we go here from the Emerald City. Joe Hung looking to get through F2L, still working on it as we speak. Finishes up there right now with a 967 to open up PSL Seattle.
All right, seeing a little bit of nerves right there from Johang. Johang uses the roux method. For anyone who's unfamiliar, that's when you build a block on the left side, a block on the right side, and then you perform one algorithm to solve the corners, and then you finish off the last 6 edges by spamming MU moves there at the end. So I'm not going to be able to provide too much detail on the ins and outs of Johang's solves, but I'll be able to provide some kind of solace because I'm familiar with the method. But interesting, seeing someone not using CFOP or ZB these days. Seems like that's all anyone ever uses anymore.
You always like to see the variety of methods, too, that people use to try and solve the cube as quick as they can. So
there's
a 967
a lot of benefits to roux, actually. There's a lot lower of a move. And if you can use that low move count to your advantage, you can definitely outwit anyone who uses CFOP or ZB.
Here goes Will on his first solve. White cross the choice, finishes F2L there. Working on last layer now. Little Locky puts it down with a 798. He takes the first solve in this best of one.
Yeah, very smooth there up until about the OLL execution, but that is a very, very difficult one to execute. It has wide R moves, D moves, and U moves all in it, and there's a lot of turns that are prone to catches whenever you're doing that. But the first 2 layers looked decent. No rotations throughout the entire F2L, and then just a couple of lockups come last layer. He was able to clutch it out, though, beat him by about 2 seconds.
Those no rotations, if you can execute that, those just save you so much time in your solve.
Definitely.
Will able to take that first one, and now Joe Hung, he has a chance to respond here after that 967. Finishes first block, still working on that second block now. Now here come the MU moves to finish off. A 983 for Joe Hung, so a little bit of consistency with 9-second solves, but not what he's looking for.
Yeah, he didn't have CMLL there solved until about 7 or 8 seconds were on the stack mat. Getting that just a little bit faster is definitely going to be something he needs to work on over the next couple of solves, or else he might be ending up in the loser's bracket. If you'll notice, his TPS increases significantly, and his confidence also increases a lot whenever he gets to the MU moves. So just taking it slow whenever the first 2 blocks in CMLL have to be solved, that could make all the difference for him.
For sure, it's early in the competition, but if he can speed those first 2 blocks up, he could be looking good as he gets into a groove. Here goes Will. 983 the time to beat. Good pickup here. Working his way through F2L, able to get through that, drops the cube, able to put it down with a 798, another 798 for Will, and deja vu, he earns another point.
I think he could have stopped the timer when the cube was one move away and still could have won. Definitely no rotations this time. He starts out by putting his first pair in the front right slot. You want to avoid that typically, and then takes a little bit of time to recog the ZB and then executes it. You know, he definitely executed it, but he executed it in time to take the second solve, which looks to be very important because now he's up 2-0 instead of it being tied.
Yes, a commanding lead here for Greninger, the native of Hillsboro, Oregon. Now we turned to Jo-Hung Son. He's already down 2-0 in this best of one. Has to put up a good time here. Here he goes. Finishes up that first block quickly to MU. 620. Much better there from Jo-Hung.
Yeah, very, very solid. Oh, he was afraid that a piece might have popped apart on the cube drop there. 620 is a whole lot better than getting 2 high 9s. Let's see what made this so special. So first block right there is done. Second block right there is done. Easy CMLL, and then straight in. Yeah, that was very solid resolve right there.
Jo-Hung needed that one. 620 the time to beat here for Will, using up 10 seconds of inspection. Again, a decent pickup, a little bit of a pause there, working on White Cross. Had a corner twist in there as well, a 966. That's not going to do it. Jo-Hung remains alive.
Yeah, I was going to say it looked like Will thought that there was a different OLL on his cube, but it turns out that we were both wrong because, yeah, he definitely had it right, and then come to find out there was a corner twist on the cube. But, yeah, he recovered decently well. He was able to, you know, have enough sound mind to execute the correct OLL after he realized the corner was misoriented. That's kind of the solve that you just have to throw away and forget about, and then move on. Look to take the next one with a little bit smoother turning, and hopefully no corner twists.
Jo-Hung remains alive in set number one. Can the spark that he needs to try and get through to winner semifinals. Using up a lot of inspection time here. And here he goes. A little bit locky there as he works on that first block, trying to finish up that second block now. Here comes the MU moves, 846 for Jo-Hung.
DNF. That's very unfortunate. He stopped the timer with an H-perm still on his cube, so now Will just has to... Oh, wait, no. That's a forfeit, right?
Yep, that'll be it with the new regulation rules. The DNF,
yeah.
Will shouldn't have to go up to solve it. Let's take a look at what happened here.
Yeah, so it looks like he finishes up CMLL and just misjudges it. He has a H-perm right there on his cube. Very unfortunate end for Jo-Hung, but he will be able to try to redeem himself later on in the competition, I believe, right? There's not some new regulation about the style of the tournament?
No, there seems to be a lot of new regulations with Season 2, but no, you'll still see Jo-Hung here coming up in the lower bracket. He drops this one to Will, and he will await the loser, I guess you could say, of the second winner semifinal match, which that would be between Samir and the winner of this next first round of winners that you're about to see right now between Do Kwang Hung and Walter Wilson. 3 versus 6 here. So Will moves on. He'll be playing Dylan Miller in the first of winners semifinals. And once again, it will be Walter and Do Kwang getting set up here. But Luke, I think in that first round there for Jo-Hung, a little bit of nerve showing, but good to see him pick it back up here at the end, other than that DNF.
I definitely agree. That 620 is definitely something that he should be going into the next round thinking about. He should be thinking, that was a great solve. Then he should go back and think, what made it so great? And then try to emphasize the points that made it great, and then work on the points that made it not so great. Going back and analyzing your own solves definitely helps you a lot, especially in an environment like this where every solve matters, and it's not average of 5 format where you have basically have to have 4 really good solves in order to succeed. So, yeah, going back and making those adjustments will make all the difference.
Absolutely. Cubing coach yourself as well, and I'm sure you've analyzed plenty of solves in your time. So, I mean, hey, look, great to have you on for the analysis that you're going to get, because you're going to get some top-tier analysis from Luke Greiser here today.
Everyone's always asking me to do some example solves. This is like kind of example solves, except the other people are doing the example solves and I'm just explaining it.
They want to see your expertise in action, Luke. That's what the people want, right?
Well, I'm here.
Absolutely.
Let's have a good time.
Absolutely. Let's have a great time. All right, let's send it back down to GameWorks Arcade for Walter versus Do Kwang.
Do Kwang, you're the higher seed. You get to do the coin flip. Heads or tails? He's selected heads. And it is heads. Do Kwang, would you like to go first or second? He's going first to the solving station, and Walter to the waiting area. Please submit your puzzles and your cellular device.
All right, second match is about to get underway between Do Kwang Hung and Walter Wilson. Walter making his way through the intermediate bracket, earned the number 6 seed here this afternoon in Seattle, and good to see him go up against Do Kwang Hung, who also recently competed at Seattle last year. And this is where you'll see, Luke, a CFOP use for Do Kwang here coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen Do Kwang do a couple of solves before. He currently has a 488 single in WCA competitions and a 577 average. That puts him at 80th in the world. He is definitely someone who is a serious competitor and could be a threat to Samir and Dylan Miller as well. So I'm excited to see what level of talent he brings to the table right now, and whether he will peak early, peak late, or have no peak, or always have a peak. Anything could happen in PSL, and I'm excited to watch it happen.
No doubt, anything can indeed happen. And
oh no,
here we go, getting start off here. Oh no, didn't start the timer. This is not going to be the start he wanted. That's an automatic DNF.
Yeah, so he already starts off in an 0-1 hole. He'll stay right there and wait for the second solve that he'll do. But I was wondering if 4-pad was going to be a factor here. Who's used to it, who isn't, and who will forget whenever the time is wrong to forget. This is our first instance. I've definitely fallen victim to it many times in my PSL losses and my PSL win. So it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just something you have to get used to. It's a different format, so practicing in 4-pad is definitely important. I've come to learn that. So he'll try to make that adjustment now. You might see a little bit of a drop in his times, especially because altering the way that you start a solve will alter the way that you physically start a solve. Like if you have different conditions for one session or another session, there's going to be differences in not necessarily your times, but the quality of your solves and when your good factors are. Like 2-pad, it's easier to have a good pickup and execution of your cross, X-cross, whatever you inspected. And then 4-pad, it's a little bit more difficult because your fingers are definitively further away from the cube. And from what I could see from his turning, he turns very, very quickly. It looks like that might be something he relies on. And in a 2-pad user, someone who normally uses 2-pad and relies on their turning, you could see a little bit of a difference in the 4-pad. So something to look out for.
I believe we're going to get an extra solve here. Could have been a timer issue to get things started.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Solved the cube, but didn't stop the timer right away. So it's a 727.
Wow. 4-pad comes back to bite him immediately. He did not learn his lesson. But in terms of like normal 3x3 solves. That was fantastic. It was going to be a 5.3 if he stopped the timer appropriately, but I really have no complaints with it, except it looked like a lot of moves on the last pair, but sometimes you can't really help that. So it looks like Walter is going to have to beat a 7.27, which it looks like he'll pretty much be able to do if he's able to lock in like he did in the qualifier.
Very much in his wheelhouse here. 7:27, the time to beat for Walter. Finishes up F2L right there. That's not going to be quick enough. An 8:14, and Do Kwang with a 7:27 escapes and take the first solve.
Yeah, right there. He got to OLL at a decent amount of time, and then it just took too long for him to recognize it. Yeah, sledging in that last pair as well took up a little bit of time, which also altered his perception of the OLL. That's why he recognized it wrong at first.
Quick inspection here for Do Kwang. Yellow cross the
Start the timer.
Nice turning. Didn't start the timer again. Oh my goodness.
Different factors. They can get you if you're not careful.
Wow, so in a very unruly welcome here to 4-pad mode for Do Kwang. They're just going to check the timer, but this has been a recurring theme here all this season, Luke, the introduction of 4-pad mode. It's a different environment, as you mentioned in the previous discussion, between 2-pad and 4-pad, and being able to drill that into a competitor who's used to 2-pad mode, it's a tough adjustment.
Definitely, and the proof that I have is my own lived experience from about a year and a half ago in, where was it? In San Diego. I was prepping, I was excited, I was in California. I'd never explored California outside of an airport before, but I was ready to do my thing, and I completely forgot to practice 4-pad, and DNF'd several times, but hopefully Do Kwang bounces back better than I did. Starts the timer.
You also certainly bounced back in PSL Michigan. Do Kwang finishing up the solve right here, 7:54. A little bit of time went off after that, but able to stop the timer regardless.
You're absolutely right. A little bit of time that could be make or break depending on what Walter does here. Let's see how he starts. Yeah, right there, huge lockup, 3 moves into his solution, and like I said, these different factors really can affect the quality of your solves, especially right there. He stops it like it's 2-pad, but he forgot that it's 4-pad yet again. Practicing with 4-pad in between, if he is able to advance, is definitely going to be something that he wants to do.
8 seconds.
Walter needs to beat a 7:54. Flying
Wow.
through F2L. Smooth
Nice.
turning, little locky. 5:95 for Walter. And he's moving on.
Congratulations to both competitors. We're moving on to a match 3.
His name is not Kyle, his name is Walter, but he does win and he is moving
Indeed.
on. That 595 looked really, really smooth. Michael explaining the situation to Do Kwang over in the PSL waiting chair. And this looked like a very nice solve. A little bit of a luck there with the OLL skip, but it was a smooth F2L, and in the words of Timon, he got rewarded for a good F2L with some kind of skip on last layer. And then executed the E-perm really, really well. Kept his composure, didn't say, oh, it's an OLL skip, yay! He kept on going like a professional and stopped the timer appropriately, started the timer appropriately, did everything. Yeah, great solve right there to move on to the winner's bracket.
What a start this is for Walter, entering as the number 6 seed. Gets his best solve of the PSL, a sub-6 second solve. A good start for Walter. Well, we'll take a quick break. Come on right back for more of PSL Seattle. Up next is Dylan Miller taking on William Greninger. Don't go anywhere. PSL Seattle on Speedcubing TV returns right after this.
At For the Need Foundation, we are committed to transforming young lives through the power of mentorship. Follow us at For the Need on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date on how you can make change in your community. Together, we can prevent homelessness.
A 708!
No lucky turning here, and see you next week.
I want to keep going. Maybe that's what Dylan's trying to channel.
Welcome you back inside the broadcast booth here for PSL Seattle. Michael Rosencrans, Luke Greiser alongside you. Glad to have you along here on this May 17th. And we're just about getting ready to jump right in to winners semifinals here coming up. We're going to get our first look at number 1 seeded Dylan Miller, and he's going up against William Greninger. Let's send it back out to Michael Chai.
You're the higher seed. Would you like to go heads or tails? Tails. And he has selected tails. And it is?
What is that?
It is tails. Dylan, would you like to go first or second? And Dylan's going first to the solving station. Will to the bench. As a reminder, first to 2 sets wins the match.
Well, as often as he does, Luke, Dylan, love it when he relies on the coin flip here, and he is solving first. That one much more favorable for Dylan than, say, the Indiana Pacers in the whole Ivica Zubats trade, but I digress.
Tails never fails, baby, in the words of Dylan Miller. He will call tails until the day that he dies, I believe. There was some confusion with the coin there. It didn't look like anyone knew what was heads and what was tails. So that's always interesting when you don't know who wins a coin toss. But I'm excited to do some analysis on Dylan's solves. I can really get inside and out because our solving styles are very, very similar when it comes to our solutions. So here we go.
Indeed, here we go. First look at Dylan Miller, won PSL Seattle back in Season 1 on October 12th. Has already punched his ticket to Vegas, but he is looking for more. Solid pick from Dylan. Quick turning out of the gate. Little Locky finishing up last layer. 623 for Dylan to kick things off.
Yeah, not too bad of a solve. Probably not exactly what he was looking for, judging by the look on his face. But starts off with very, very quick turning, as you know he normally does, and then instantly gets cross +2 done, and then goes on to 3 and 4. A little bit of OLLCP there, doing an algorithm to solve all of the corners along with the OLL instead of just the standard algorithm. Finishes off with an ICU perm, and then stops the timer at 6.23.
Here goes Will, 623, the time to beat. Little Locky on white cross, finishes F2L. Not going to be quick enough, though. Puts it down with an 861, and Dylan takes the first solve.
Will is getting cursed a little bit with some unfortunate OLL cases. Right there, he got the inverse of the very first one that he got that messed him up a little bit. Having to go again with the wide RUD ALG, and then finishes it off with an awkward A perm with a U2 AUF. That's the worst AUF that it could possibly be. Dylan takes solve 1 by about 2.5 seconds.
8 seconds.
Dylan solving first in this first set here. It's always where he likes to be, trying to set the tone. Little slower pickup there. Works on yellow this time. Finishes F2L. Couple another MU moves. 626 there for Dylan.
That time I noticed that was a whole lot of moves, but after a little pause for what looked to be his second pair, he never stopped turning and never locked up. So he's going to pause right here looking for, that was his second pair, and then so many moves for his third and fourth pairs and OLL, but he gets U-perm for the PLL again, is able to execute it very, very well, very smoothly. He likes the MU algorithms for sure. And now Will's going to have to bring it to beat this 626.
Eerily similar to the first solve, only separating them by about 0.03 of a second. Here goes Will. Smooth turning, trying to finish up F2L, does so. Quick last layer. Oh, goodness, that's a DNF.
Unfortunate. He wouldn't have taken the solve anyway, but that would have been very, very close. Can't wait to take a closer look at this thing, but, you know, Dylan has to have some massive weight off of his shoulders after seeing the type of pace that he was on for sure. Let's see. Goes with White Cross. Easy first two pairs. Yeah, F2L looked really good. Missing on the ZB, though, and then isn't able to perform the J-perm appropriately. That's a very easy one to mess up. It's another one that has some awkward moves in it. There is a wide R move in it, actually. This time it's mixed with F moves. I don't recommend people do that unless there's no AUF, and there was an AUF, which caused him to DNF that time.
Dylan on the verge here of taking this first set. Pretty locky, though, through the start of the first two pairs. Puts that one down with a 662. Not happy with that one.
No, yeah. I noticed he got the exact same OLL that time. Take a look. He goes for Yellow Cross. A lot of very lucky turning, especially right there. It looked like he had white on the back side of his cube. That's not a situation you ever want to be in, but after that, he was able to recover and then execute the OLL a little bit better this time around, learning from his mistakes, and then G-perm to finish it off. But he's not satisfied with that solve, and I wouldn't be either.
3 6-second solves here for Dylan. Will trying to get on the board here in this one. Finishes F2L right about there. Puts it down with a 740. A clean sweep for Dylan. He takes the first set.
Yeah, just too many moves that time for Will's TPS to make up for. He decides to go with White Cross as well. Yeah, way too many moves in order to be able to keep up with that. And that time he could have forced edges to be oriented on the top if he altered his last F2L solution a little bit. I know that he knows some ZB. We saw him do a T ZBLL in his previous match, so that could have been something that could be something he could work on in the future, making sure to force EO whenever it's easy and convenient to do so. But right now, I think he's just worried about getting some points up on Dylan Miller. Dylan's performance right now is mirroring his last live stream before he took the trip to Seattle. He started off with some sixes and then very quickly was able to bring it up, and then he got a couple of fours in a row not too long after that. So that could be something to look out for a little bit later.
Exactly. It's all about how you can build momentum early and carry that on throughout this competition. Pretty lucky here for Will, working on White Cross. Had another corner twist in there. Wraps up last layer with a 931. Man, just unfortunate cases here for Will.
Yeah, all kinds of bad luck is coming his way. I looked up. I've been keeping an eye on the chat too, I'm not gonna lie, but I looked up and he wasn't done with F2L and the timer was at like 7 seconds. Right there, he does the Yi hangout for that OLL R prime U prime 2 sledges UR, but he had a twisted corner yet again. But even before that, the solve wasn't going fantastic either. Dylan just essentially has to solve the cube this time.
He'll look to do just that, flying through F2L. Quick MU moves, 577. No problem for Dylan. He's taken 4 straight.
Yeah, he's sitting there. He looks unimpressed with his performance so far. I think he's going to try to ramp it up later because I know he has high expectations for himself. Right there, he missed a opportunity to multi-slot. If he had done a U2 instead of just a U for that third pair and then done RU2 R prime, it would have made sure that his last pair was a 3-mover instead of having to do a Y2 and build it all again.
8 seconds.
Will looking for any signs of life here in this one. Once again, White Cross here for Will. Lockie in the first 2 layers, still trying to work through it. Might have had
Oh my
another
goodness.
corner twist. Wrapping up last layer, 10:53.
Going first can be very, very nerve-wracking, and going second can also be very nerve-wracking. But he did experience yet another corner twist, and he knew it as soon as he saw the pattern on top. He knew that that was impossible. But yeah, Dylan just has to get a sub 10 single to take this 5th one in a row.
Man, how many corner twists is that for Will? 1, 2? Hasn't gone Will's way here. Dylan working his way through F2L, puts it down, 524. Should be good from that angle.
Well, +2 or not,
Very
he still
close.
takes the solve by a lot.
From this side, it's a +2. Yeah, that's a plus.
And it is a +2, but it's not going to matter. Dylan takes.
Well, they do officially rule it a +2,
yeah.
but as Luke said, wouldn't have mattered anyway. Dylan's taken 5 straight.
He sure has, and I don't think that he wants to slow down at all. Straight out of the gate, he saw that first pair. That was the first thing he saw. Oh, right there. He rotated left and then left again, for first pair, and then, another pair after that. You really want to get all of your rotations out as soon as possible. You don't want to have to rotate, do a pair, rotate, do a pair again. So trying to avoid that.
Will looking to try and dig himself out of a hole. Faster F2L there, puts it down with a 699. Better for Will, but Dylan's on fire right now, Luke.
Yeah, a lot better, and Dylan's starting to set in. White cross, something to watch out for, because Dylan does white and yellow. So right there, he realized that he was going to solve both of his first 2 pairs in the front slot, and then he rotated in the middle of his first. Not the greatest decision, but it did open up the right 2 slots.
White cross here for Dylan through F2L. Here comes the MU moves. 627. He's taken all 6, and Dylan is moving on to winners finals.
He sure did, and then there's the awkward handshake to seal it, as every PSL match goes. Safety the timer stop as well, made sure that he finished off that Z-perm correctly. I've been doing PLL time attack a lot lately, and Z-perm is always the one that gives me the most trouble. Let's see if he takes advantage of that solved F2L pair right there. I bet you he will. He sure did, exactly how I thought he would. And then, yeah, just 1 rotation for the rest of F2L. That was a very solid solve. And then a little bit of trouble with the Z-perm, but I don't blame him. I have trouble with the Z-perm all the time. So very, very solid 6-0 performance for Dylan that match.
What a start for Dylan. He will now await the winner of the next winners semifinals match, that being Samir Agarwal and Walter Wilson. That will be coming up when you come back here on Speedcubing TV. PSL Seattle will be back right after this.
Moving to one of the shelters that I lived in, just going outside, you'd realize and notice all the people and how dangerous they were thinking, the thoughts that they were thinking of doing.
I think the worst thing that I've been through was watching my dad get arrested in front of me. Well, it was really hard seeing my mom be broken. And I just hated seeing her like that.
Join For the Need in breaking the cycle of homelessness for children. Together, we can make a difference. Donate today at fortheneed.org.
Hey, we're your Speedcube shop. We are your one-stop shop for anything cubing or puzzle related and have something for everyone, beginner or pro. If you want the best of the best, allow us to lend you our years of experience and consider one of our premium setup Speedcubes. Our team of experts will dial in your Speedcube by applying lubricants and adjusting the settings so that when your cube arrives, you're ready to start crushing your PBs. Have any questions? Our team is available via phone, live chat, or email to help get you on track. Tap the link to find your next challenge or upgrade and enjoy what we and many others consider to be the best shopping experience around.
my sweater on the board. I'll leave your bag under the stairs. Don't go back to our old place, it's probably locked up anyway. I bet it still looks the same as when I ran away that day. Doesn't matter anyway.
Please submit your cellular devices and your
PSL Seattle, where we are set to begin the next round of winners semifinals between Samir Agarwal and Walter Wilson. Michael Rosencrans, Luke Greiser with you, Matthew Marinick, Aaron Farrago, Lucas Aubin, our wonderful crew on site this afternoon with Speedcubing TV. Let's send it back down to the venue.
And it's going to be first, the 2 sets wins the match. Each competitor is allocated 1 2-minute timeout that you can tell your referee. And then, Samir, you are at a higher seat. Would you like to go heads or tails?
I'll go ahead.
Heads?
Yeah.
And you're going heads. And it is tails. Walter, you have won the coin flip. Would you like to go first or second? And Walter is going first to the solving station. Samir to the bench. Competitors, good luck.
Well, here we go, getting your first look at the second-seeded Samir Agarwal here this evening, and Walter electing to solve first. He advanced earlier today with a win over Do Kwang Hung. It's not the last you'll see of Do Kwang, but a good start so far for Walter, Luke.
Yeah, quite an upset. Do Kwang Hung going down so early in this competition, but he proved that he was a worthy competitor for him with a 595 single that he handled like a pro whenever an OLL skip came up unexpectedly. I have been looking forward to seeing Samir's solves, though. I really liked watching him turn whenever he gets into flow state. He uploaded an average a couple years ago of like a 5.8 or something. But it was the smoothest turning I've ever seen in my entire life, and I can't wait to see if it translates to PSL.
Here goes Walter starting. Massive pause, though, as he works on his cross solution. Finishes F2L at about 7.5 seconds. 8:41. Tough start for Walter.
Yeah, very tough start right there. Having to get in the competition mode yet again, but that one pause was really the only complaint that I had, besides very, very lax cross execution there. Unfortunate last pair as well, and OLL and PLL execution was really, really smooth, so I can't fault him too much, but using B moves in cross is almost never something that you want to do, much less in the middle of your cross. That was really what kind of made that 841 and 841.
And here's Samir Agarwal. 556 WC average. That's 46th in the world in 3x3. Finishes up F2L right there. Quick last layer is 673 for Samir. He takes the first solve.
Very, very smooth turning. A little bit of nerves at the very beginning, but once he settled into it, he was able to safety this. What is Dylan doing? He was able to safety the solve, and then very nice OLL, and then a very smooth F-perm to finish everything off. That was a very nice third pair trick that he did. That would be called J-slotting. Timon talked about it in the cubicle video that he did, but takes solve number 1, and here's Walter.
Walter looking to try and rebound here. Much smoother turning. Finishes F2L at about 6 seconds. Big lockup as he goes in the last layer. 907. Luke, that was looking good until that lockup.
It sure was. He used a R-perm algorithm that is very prone to lockups. It's the one that starts out with an R2 prime. Before that, everything looked pretty good except for that Y2 right there on a hesitation. And then right here is the... Oh, that's a G-perm, sorry. But yeah, that one's also prone to lockups as well. It starts out with R2, F2, and then the rest of it, it's very re-grippy. It's a hard out to execute correctly.
13 seconds of inspection used up for Samir. Finishes up F2L right there. Little locky last layer. Still puts it down, though, with a 693. He's up 2-0.
He sure is, yeah. 2 very, very smooth solves overall. That time he seemed a little bit panicked. I think he needs to settle into the environment and get used to it, because once he can calm down and do whatever he wants to do with his hands, that's going to work a lot better for him, especially if he doesn't do that. That was a Y2 in the middle of his solve.
Here goes Walter. White crossed the choice for him. Still trying to work through F2L. Finally gets through it at about 8 seconds. Quick last layer, but a 9:18 for Walter.
Yeah, really smooth last layer there. It was Timon's 397, or the inverse of it. One of those two OLLs, and then a J-perm. So really, really nice last layer, but F2L just took forever. It looked like there was a pause in between every F2L pair, and there were U moves that weren't doing anything in between every F2L pair. So those two things combined is what made that solve not the result that Walter was looking for.
Door once again open here for Samir. Works on White. Smooth turning here from Samir. Puts it down with a 629. A clean sweep for Samir. He's up 1-0 in the set total.
Yeah, very nice there, especially the last layer. He had a 3-cycle OLL where only 3 edges were being affected. His last 2 pairs definitely could have been better, but that OLL was letting him, allowed him to see the A-perm that was coming up, so he was able to just go straight into it. I noticed something interesting that Samir does before he starts every solve, or at least he has done for the past 3. His index finger will twitch off of the timer right before he starts it. I'm not sure what that is, but that's just something that my eyes have noticed.
Yeah, it could be nerves, but every cuber has a routine that is so familiar to them as they get tried to prepare here. And I think, wonder if we have a shot of it right here. Yeah, and there it is right there, that little finger twitch that you... Could he keep it up for a 4th solve in a row?
Yeah, we'll see. That's comparable to maybe a free throw routine, but he did it again, yeah.
He sure did do it again. Finishes up F2L there. Few MU moves. 638 for Samir.
Yeah, really nice turning there. Got kind of lucked out with the last layer. It was a 6 mover followed by a U-perm, if my memory serves me correctly. Oh, it was a soon and then F sexy F prime. Okay, so he definitely had to earn it a little bit. That's one of the worst OLLs, but executed it very smoothly and then safetied the U-perm a little bit, but still very, very fast turning.
Pressure mounting here for Walter. Another massive lock. He works on his cross solution through F2L, but not quick enough. Soft tap of the timer with a 912. 4 straight for Samir.
Yeah, he's looking like the Oklahoma City Thunder right now. Shout out to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 2-time MVP, former Kentucky Wildcat, represent Go Cats. But now back to cubing. What you can take away from this Walter Wilson solve is he rotates for every single one of his F2L pairs, or at least it seemed like it. He was doing front right pair and then rotate, front right rotate. You definitely want to throw some variety on there. Like if you notice in Samir's solve just now, besides that, there were no rotations during F2L, or at least none that were unnecessary.
697 there for Samir. The times are a little high here for Samir, but against Walter so far, it's really all Samir has needed so far. Walter, a 682 WCA average, so again, he is capable of getting times within his wheelhouse, but again, this environment in a game works. It's proving challenging here so far.
Whoa.
Quicker F2L, much quicker last layer, 620. That's a good feeling for Walter.
Yeah, Walter is the metaphorical Spurs if Samir is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Takes the first solve. He got to OLL very quickly, finished his F2L very quickly, and then he was able to oh, nice, very nice. Every pair on that solve influenced the next one. That's exactly what you want to see, and then a nice OLL, and then a very nicely executed PLL as well.
Good feeling for Walter. Here goes Samir. Little Locky start on the cross solution. Able to recover nicely, though, the 626.
Samir looked a little befuddled by the scramble or a little worried that Walter might be catching fire. Definitely not an emotion that you want to show in such a competitive environment. Not necessarily because it's like bleeding in front of sharks, but it's because if you do an action that your brain associates with negativity, your results are going to be negative. But 626 is obviously not such a negative thing, especially when it wins against an unfortunate corner twist there from Walter's solve.
Lot of instances of corner twists that we've seen so far in Seattle. Samir takes that one. He's up 2-1 in set 2, and we have reached match point here in set number 2 here. Once again, it's best of 3. So should Samir win this, he will go on to face Dylan in the winners semifinals.
There's some screws loose at this arcade, and most of them are in the cubes of the competitors at PSL right now. Lots of corner twists, not what you want to see. Samir very quick. Oh my goodness.
Look at that. 537 from Samir.
Walter did not look very happy about that. If I was Walter, I wouldn't look very happy about it either. Is able to take advantage of that pair that was pre-solved. And then, OLL goes straight into PLL. Very nice. Walter's going to have to pull something crazy off right here.
Yes, he is. Through F2L. Can he make a quick last player? He cannot. With a 6:04, he might have been on pace. But Samir and Dylan will face off in the winners finals.
Yeah, so close. And I've actually recently switched to that OLL execution for that case. But they did the same solution leading up to that OLL, and that was really what made all the difference. His execution for the OLL was great, but then the transition into the RUD PLL was not so great.
Walter not going to have too much time to dwell on it. He's going to be up again right after we come back from commercial to face off against Jo Hung Sun. Don't go anywhere. PSL Seattle on Speedcubing TV returns right after this.
At For the Need Foundation, we are committed to transforming young lives through the power of mentorship. Follow us at For the Need on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date on how you can make change in your community. Together, we can prevent homelessness.
A 708!
No lucky turning here, and see you next week.
I want to keep going. Maybe that's what Dylan's trying to channel.
Back here in Seattle, Washington, a gorgeous view of the Emerald City. Space Needle in the foreground there, a pleasant 61 degrees here in the Emerald City as we bring you back into the broadcast booth. Michael Rosencrans alongside Luke Greiser. Glad to have you along for PSL Seattle. And Luke, we just saw Samir advance to the winners finals to take on Dylan Miller. That'll be coming up a little bit later this competition. Right now, let's send it back down to the venue to Michael Chai here.
Semifinals. Johang, you are the higher seed. Would you like heads or tails? Heads. And Johang is going heads. And Johang has won the coin flip. First or second? And Johang is going second. Johang to the waiting area, Walter to the solving station. Competitors, good luck.
Well, here you go, Luke. Rue versus CFOP here between Johang and Walter, and a very visible reaction from Walter as he learned that he was going first. So Johang using a little bit of strategy to put even more pressure on Walter.
It looked like he put his thinking cap on as soon as he was asked heads or if he wanted to go first or second. And there definitely is some strategy behind it. That was an interesting G-perm algorithm that Walter just did. But anyway, going second would mean that you are confident in your ability to get something that's better than whatever they get. And if you choose to go first, that means that you're confident in your ability to get something really good straight out of the gate. So either one of those tactics could have been used just now to make that decision.
Lower quarterfinals here, Walter and Johang. White cross here for Walter. Quicker F2L. Here come the MU moves to finish off. 9:14 though. A lot of moves on the last layer.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of moves, and that's because it was a Z-perm that was unfortunate. That's just a bad case in general, but this type of execution isn't really something that I would recommend often. It looked like all of the M moves, or most of them, were in different directions. Yeah, so being able to channel different M moves in different directions is very difficult, just on a whim. So that makes it more prone to lockups, and I'd recommend if you're doing an MU out, all of your M's go in the same direction whenever possible.
As a reminder, lower quarterfinals, first to one set, so the first three solves will take this one. Here come the MU moves from Johang, a 709. He takes the first solve.
Takes it very comfortably there. Rue user settling in. Obviously, that's the second time that he's been a little bit concerned with dropping the cube a little bit too hard. Maybe a corner and edge piece coming apart a little bit, making sure that nothing's going to go wrong in the middle of his solve. And nothing really has gone wrong so far. Looks like the infographic is a little bit incorrect. Johang is up 1-0.
Yes, Johang indeed up 1-0. Here goes Walter, though, trying to add a point on his side of things through F2L at about 6.5 seconds. Little locky last layer, 8:13 for Walter.
It looks like he's getting caught up in what he is actively solving, and it's hindering his look ahead a little bit. When your turning isn't going great, like when you're under pressure, and you're in, a spotlight in a very, what I'm guessing is a cold arcade, your turning isn't going to be the most accurate. And to combat that, you kind of have to look ahead into what you're solving next and just turn as smoothly as possible. But he's focusing too hard on trying to solve the pair that he's actively solving, and it's hindering his look ahead a little bit.
8:13, the time to beat here for Johang, finishing up with the MU moves. Puts it down with a 692. He's up 2-0 now.
He looks very comfortable with every solve that he does, and he looks more and more comfortable progressively. He knew he had to beat an 8:13. We're seeing a little bit of why he picked to go second. His turning is a lot more relaxed, and that is something that I will stand by is very important in competition environments. And now he'll know what he needs to beat yet again.
Yes, he will. Just so much pressure here on Walter, trying to put down a good time. Gets through F2L. Locky last layer puts it down with a 792. And with the way Johang's solving, the door's open.
Door is open just a little bit. He's going to have to put down something that's decently solid, even though Walter isn't very happy with that result. It looks like it was going pretty well. And then interesting OLL algorithm, and then This is the R2 Prime R perm that I was talking about earlier. That one actually did lead to lockups this time. Doors open just a smidge, but Johung's going to try to knock it out of the park right now.
Here he goes. Quick work on that first block. There's the second block, finishing up the MU moves right now. Little Locky, 776. A clean sweep for Sun, and he's moving on.
That's the beauty of going second. You know what you got to beat, and then if it's something that you're comfortable with, you can just take a seat back, take it easy, and do what you know how to do. He was able to control everything up to CMLL right here, and then the LSE looked a little bit rough at the beginning, but he had enough time to be able to calm his nerves a little bit, better turning, and he was able to finish right in time to take the first set.
Absolutely. That, unfortunately, is the end of Walter Wilson's run in PSL Seattle. He's officially been eliminated from this tournament, but making it through the intermediate bracket earlier today, and he sees his tournament end at the hands of Johung Sun. Well, we're going to keep it right here. Coming up next, we have William Greninger against Do Kwang Hung. And Luke, other than those first few solves that we've seen from Johung so far, he is found a rhythm, and he's working really, really well.
Definitely. He's getting more comfortable with this environment, which is so important in an environment like this. But in this match, if I am Do Kwang, last 15 minutes, all that I've been doing is solving on 4-pad, getting used to it, making sure that timer stops and starts are a non-issue, and all that I have to worry about are my solutions and my turning.
No doubt, it'll be a big adjustment here for Do Kwang. Hope he can get on the right side of things this time with the 4-pad. But here you go, Do Kwang Hung against William Greninger. One of them is going to be moving on, and one will see their tournament end here this evening. So Do Kwang going to solve first here. He solved first in the previous time we saw him, and that was where he had his plethora of issues with the 4-pad mode. So again, Luke, you hit it the nail right on the head. In a mode like this where it's certainly different, I mean, you got to be practicing when you're warming up.
Oh, for sure. Part of my issue at the first PSL was that I wasn't practicing in between the times that I actually had to practice. And then I learned my lesson at the second PSL. I got used to 4-pad before the competition and at the competition as well. Let's see if he's done the same thing.
And here goes Do Kwang here for his first solve. Quickly through F2L, puts it down with a 572. That's a good start for Do Kwang.
That looks a little bit more like the solver that I know out of him. He's able to turn it up pretty well. It looked like he did a rotation after an AUF for PLL. I could have been tripping, but that's something I thought that I might have seen. Oh, he did rotate. Okay, so not a terrible decision specifically for that J-perm. But yeah, either way, 572 is the time to beat.
Good pickup here from Will, flying through
wow.
F2L. Quick last player, 519. He takes the first solve.
He sure does. And get that one off of the scoreboard for Do Kwang Hung. William Greninger is here, and he means business. This was a very, very good F2L, and then, yeah, everything was executed so well. It looked like his first 3 pairs were done instantly. Very impressive solve there from Will Greninger.
Taking that one from Do Kwang. Look at this here from Do Kwang. Puts it down with a 541.
Here we go. Welcome to PSL Seattle. We've got back-to-back-to-back 5s here. Seems like people are getting a little bit more used to this arcade with the pinball machines going off in the background and everything. Will's going to have to try to drown out the noise and get a sub 5.4.
And that's the thing, Luke. None of these competitors have the headphones like you see somebody like Morgan Ye wear. So, I mean, it's all just trying to block everything out here. Here goes Will, 5:41 the time to beat. Lockie here, this isn't going to do it for Will. Puts that one down with an 8:22. We are tied at 1 apiece.
Believe it or not, that actually had the potential to be sub 5.4. That solution and that solve, actually, if his fourth pair rather was just a little bit smoother, he could have kept his momentum going into last layer, which was Fat Soon followed by J Perm. So not very many moves and very finger trickable.
Little Lockie to start here for Do Kwang. Finishes F2L quickly on the last layer. 682 for Do Kwang.
Not happy with it, and Will looks like he has a problem with his left shoulder. He's been grabbing at it for the past competition. I'm not sure if that will affect what we see out of him today, but this solve is kind of in between safetyable and not safetyable for Will. I'd imagine that we'll see a little bit of a more controlled turning here and more focus on the solution. But yeah, we'll see.
12 seconds of inspection used up here for Will. Big lockup as he tries to finish up F2L. Finishes it there, puts it down with a 908. Rough one there from Will, and Do Kwang's up 2-1.
I was definitely right with my prediction that he'd try to slow his turning down a little bit right here on this pair. He got that slot wrong. He was going to solve the red, white, and blue pair into the red, white, and green slot. So that kind of threw off his momentum there.
Do Kwang up 2-1. Trying to slam the door on this one. This solve comes out to be a 739 for Do Kwang. Not happy with that one either.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he got 10 TPS on that solve, and he did 74 moves. That's kind of just his turning style, it appears to be. But if you look at this, he does so many moves and he never stops turning. That might have been a cross fix there, like he had an adjacent cross and he was fixing it at the end or something. I'm not sure, but whatever it was very quick. But 739 yet again. We'll see if Will can safety his way into a win on this one.
Has to get a 738 or better to stay alive here in this one. Able to get through F2L. Here come the MU move. 753! It won't happen for Will, and Do Kwang is moving on.
Did not finish the cube anyway. Very unfortunate, but Will gets to walk away knowing that he has a very clutch solve on the PSL stage, and hopefully whatever issue he has with his shoulder gets worked out, and he can come back and in PSL matches and WCA competitions, and we can see what else he has to offer, because he's a very promising talent.
He sure is. Second fastest cuber in Oregon behind Asher Kim Majerick. Unfortunately sees his tournament run come to an end with that +2 there. Didn't finish the cube. Do Kwang is moving on, and he will be playing Jo Hung Sun coming up in the lower semifinals. We'll get to that and more when you come back to PSL Seattle right here on Speedcubing TV.
Moving to one of the shelters that I lived in, just going outside, you'd realize and notice all the people and how dangerous they were thinking, the thoughts that they were thinking of doing.
I think the worst thing that I've been through was watching my dad get arrested in front of me. Well, it was really hard seeing my mom be broken. And I just hated seeing her like that.
Join For the Need in breaking the cycle of homelessness for children. Together, we can make a difference. Donate today at fortheneed.org.
Hey, we're your Speedcube shop. We are your one-stop shop for anything cubing or puzzle related and have something for everyone, beginner or pro. If you want the best of the best, allow us to lend you our years of experience and consider one of our premium setup Speedcubes. Our team of experts will dial in your Speedcube by applying lubricants and adjusting the settings so that when your cube arrives, you're ready to start crushing your PBs. Have any questions? Our team is available via phone, live chat, or email to help get you on track. Tap the link to find your next challenge or upgrade, and enjoy what we and many others consider to be the best shopping experience around.
So leave my sweater on the board. I'll leave your bag under the stairs. Don't go back to our old place. It's probably locked up anyway. I bet it still looks the same as when I ran away that day. Doesn't matter anyway.
Back in the broadcast booth here from PSL Seattle, Michael Rosencrans, Luke Greisler with you. Glad to have you along, getting you set for the lower semifinals coming up between Jo-Hung Sun and Do Kwang Hung. Let's head back down, if we're ready to head back down to the venue. But here you can see the bracket and how things have gone today. Only one bracket reset has happened so far in this second season of PSL, Luke, and depending who's going for the grand finals here, we could see it again. But nice little smile there from Do Kwang as he looks right up into our top-down camera.
You always want to be a little playful. You want to have a little fun when you're doing what you're doing. Reminded me of that picture of Stephen Curry looking at how a net actually works in basketball. I'm making a lot of niche NBA references, but if you get my jokes, shout out to you.
I definitely know the picture you're referencing, by the way. I definitely know the picture you're referencing. Gotta love the flamboyant nature of these competitors here this evening. Here goes Do Kwang to start things off here in lower semifinals, working on White Cross, smooth turning through F2L, MU moves at the end, 7-11 for Do Kwang.
Yeah, you shouldn't apply lotion on your hands right before you do a 3x3 solve. That's never going to work out very well for you. Looked like it just, I can hear the cartoon noise of someone slipping on a banana peel when I watched that solve. It looked like during this second, right there, just flew out of his hand, unfortunately. The rest of the solve looked very good. I don't recommend doing that, though. Orienting the edges with something that's not a 3-cycle OLL and then going into ZB, or in this case, OLL PLL, unfortunately. But let's see if Jo-Hung can comfortably produce a 7-11 or better.
Still working on those two blocks. Now here comes the MU moves, not nearly in time. A soft tap of the timer with a 10.73, and Do Kwang's up 1-0.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that was a lot of MU moves to a case that could be solved with 4 moves, with M and E. It's the one there. It's kind of the flower pattern that isn't a flower pattern. It's where the centers are swapped on 4 of the sides. Unfortunate, the amount of moves.
Pretty locky here for Do Kwang. Finishes up F2L at around 8 seconds, a +2 anyways. 11:37 for Do Kwang.
Yeah, lots of things happened during that solve. It looked like he messed up the cross again. That's definitely something you want to eliminate as much as possible. So right there, he didn't finish his cross, and he had green solved in the blue slot. So that definitely took up a bunch of his time. And then this G-perm didn't help, and then the AUF also didn't help. So 11:37, I believe, is the time to beat, and I think Jo-Hung is going to have no problem pulling this one off.
Well, as you say, Luke, anything can happen. That time to beat is an 11:37 with that +2. So again, the door open here for Jo-Hung, looking to probably safety this one here. Gets through the first block. There's the second one. MU moves to finish it off. No problem with a 7:50, and we're tied at 1.
It looked like that was going to be a DNF for a second there with the not-so-safe timer stop. It paid off, though. He was still able to win by 4 seconds and tie up the set 1-1.
Do Kwon quickly back to the station here, looking to just put that one out of his head here. Again, reminder for lower semis, best of 3, so it'll be first to take 2 sets will be moving on. Quicker F2L here for Do Kwon. Smoother last layer, 629 for Do Kwon.
He's very, very sarcastically happy with that solve. He struggled a little bit on the OLL. Turning all throughout the entire solve was very, very fast, as we've come to expect from him. Quick white cross, and then that appeared to be a Y3, followed by a OLL where he messed up the last 3 moves, where you put that pair that you took out right back in, and then G-Prom was executed decently. But it should be a good enough solve, but I mean, Zhou has the potential to beat it for sure.
Finishes up those 2 blocks right there. The M moves 786. That one is not going to take that one. So Do Kwon's up 2-1.
Just a few too many lockups there that time when he finished up the CMLL. Scrambler's very fast to Do Kwon getting his cube right away. Let's take a look at this roof solve right here. Yeah, Sledge on the last pair of the last block. That's my CFOP brain talking. Was a little bit locky.
It was a locky pickup for Do Kwon, but a good recovery at the end with a 643.
Yeah, solve looked fairly solid. 643 is a very respectable time in this environment with the arcade. The fact that it's in an arcade still cracks me up a little bit. But yeah, struggled a little bit with the OLL doing the wrong U move at the beginning. Maybe misrecognized it a little bit, but still able to put down a nice mid-6.
Well, it's an arcade, and you also have the environment, too, of the Mall of America. Take your pick. Which would you rather have? Here goes Zhou trying to finish up. Trying to finish up here. Not going to be able to do so, though. Do Kwon takes set number 1 3-1.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of what we are expecting from Do Kwon. Maybe he's saving it until later when he gets more used to the 4-pad. But 3-1, it's no problem of a set win for Do Kwon against Zhou. And then Do Kwon will know what he has to beat later on as well. So I'm curious to see, especially him, if he will slow his turning down strategically, or if that turning that he relies on a lot will stay the same speed, no matter if he knows he has to beat something good or bad.
He's trying to keep up that turn speed, I think, from what I've been seeing here, Luke. And you've mentioned it a lot of times. When you can try and speed up your turn speed, it also can speed up your brain in a lot of ways, too, and really do a lot of forced errors that you don't necessarily want to make here. So by slowing that down, what does that allow you to do mentally? Just sort of reset everything?
Not necessarily reset everything, but it works as a great tool whenever you want to calm your nerves. If you tell yourself you can control your turning, it kind of spirals into I can control my solutions, and then you're just thinking about what you're doing more than you're turning because you're kind of running on autopilot. So long story short, turning slower allows you to look ahead better in your 3x3 solves and be able to see better solutions because you have more time to look around at the pieces that you're not solving. I will forever and always be an advocate of this. That strategy is how I got my North American silver medal, and I will preach to the hills for forever about slow turning being a good practice tool.
Off we go in set number 2. Zhou getting things started first. Quickly through the first 2 blocks, finishing up with MU moves here. Really locky trying to execute those MU moves. A soft tap of the timer, 11:98. Rough one there for Zhou.
There are definite nerves getting to you whenever you're there's no expectations of what your solve is supposed to be. We could be seeing a little bit into the psyche of Zhou and why he prefers to go second and know what he has to beat instead of, being the prey and wondering if the predator is going to attack or not.
Nearly a fumble there for Do Kwon, able to calmly put it down, though, with a 609, and he's up 1-0 in set 2.
That's 1-0. First solve.
Yep, 1-0
But-
set 2.
Yeah, nice ZBLL right there. He needs to stop putting lotion on his hands right before rounds. I don't know who keeps telling him to do that, but I really like that last pair insertion right there. It's F prime and then sexy move and then R prime F R. It's 8 moves. It's a lot more finger trickable than the standard beginner's method when you have a corner inserted in the slot and an edge that's roaming around the top. I like that algorithm a lot. It was used in Patrick Ponce's 496 world record from a couple of years ago as well. So, an alg that I endorse heavily, I guess.
Here's the MU moves here from Joe Hung, an 8-12 there. Sounds like Luke, though, is not too big of a fan of the lotion going on the hands of Do Kwang. He's probably saying to himself, that's blasphemy.
Whatever the case may be, I think it is all having to do with the mentality of having to go first. Do Kwang here has 8 seconds to solve his cube, and he can do that in... Oh, wow. He can do that in 5.
He sure did. A 5:15. Great stuff from Do Kwang. He's up 2-0 in the second set.
Yeah, very, very nice. Coming up close on that 488 that he has officially. Do Kwang is 80th in the world for 3x3, so definitely a force to be reckoned with, and his turning on that solution is definitely why. I've never seen anyone execute that F inverse sexy F prime F2L pair well. If you're a keen-eyed viewer, you would notice that Do Kwang got that on his second pair. He's the best I've ever seen execute that ever.
Joe Hung finishing up that second block still. Here come the MU move. 797 for Joe Hung.
Yeah, just nerves getting to him. Took too long to get to CMLL, and then LSE was, it was decent. Turning was a little bit locky from what I saw. Do Kwang has 8 seconds. Well, excuse me, 7.97 seconds to solve a cube. Let's see if he can safety it well enough.
He's looking to close this out here on White Cross. Quick turning,
Nice.
puts it down with a 485, and he's moving on, and that's a PSL record there for Do Kwang.
Nice. That is the fastest solve that he has done in an official environment. His WCA PR is 488. He lucked out a little bit there with the PLL skip. It was just a hedge and then anti-sexy OLL. A couple pauses here in F2L, a couple rotations that might have been unnecessary, but then bailed out with a no AUF PLL skip. Getting lucky is not a crime, in the words of Eric Ackerstrike, and that very much applies right here.
It certainly isn't a crime, so Do Kwang is going to be moving on to the winners, the lower finals, and Joe Hung will see his tournament come to an end. We are now down to the second half of the competition. When we come back, we're going to bring you the winner finals between Dylan Miller and Samir Agarwal. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. We'll be right back on with PSL Seattle on Speedcubing TV.
At For the Need Foundation, we are committed to transforming young lives through the power of mentorship. Follow us at For the Need on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date on how you can make change in your community. Together, we can prevent homelessness.
A 708!
No lucky turning here, and see you next week.
I want to keep going. Maybe that's what Dylan's trying to channel.
Back here at GameWorks Arcade for PSL Seattle, we are now on to winners finals. Dylan Miller against Samir Agarwal. This is a rematch from the first PSL Seattle competition back on October 12th of 2025, where Dylan ended up victorious in that one, and now Samir gets a chance here to avenge himself all the way back from last October. Michael Rosencrantz, Luke Greiser with you. Glad to have you along for PSL Seattle, the 9th competition in the Premier Speedcubing League overall. And Luke, this is set to be a fantastic matchup coming up here.
Yeah, for sure. This is the moment I've been waiting for sure. We've been getting some glimpses of Do Kwang being a very, very solid 3x3 solver throughout this competition. And these are the top 2 seeds. These are the head honchos. These are the ones gunning for first and second. So Dylan, tails never fails, Miller, opts to go first as he often does. Let's see if Samir can do pretty well with knowing what he needs to get, or will he succumb to the pressure of having to go second against Dylan Miller?
Always love to see Dylan having fun at these competitions. And let's take a look at the player comparison here. Lot of different stuff to highlight, but down at the bottom there, the WCA PR average of 5, pretty close together, a 521 and a 556. These are, once again, 2 of the top competitors in the community, and they're set to clash here in a PSL Seattle. Dylan, the first to solve here in winners finals. Best of 3. The winner will be moving on to grand finals. Here goes Dylan. Good pickup. Little Locky, though, to start, trying to make up for it in his turning. Puts it down with a 768. Little Locky, don't know if he might have misrecognized something, Luke.
Not necessarily, but his cross was not solved until his OLL was solved. So right here, he finishes off what he thinks is his cross. The rest of his F2L is all right, but he rotates with a Y2 right there. Gets a little confused, does the OLL after a rotation, rotates again. That was the solve that he wants to put out of his head, and Samir definitely wants to beat this one.
Quick turning here from Samir. Little Locky trying to get through a quick last layer. 758 by a 1/10 of a second. Samir's up 1.
That's cutting it real close, dog. But if there ever is a solve to get a 758 on, it's when your opponent gets a 768 and then misrecognizes this OLL, which is he mistakes it for one of the 3-cycle ones. But the 3-cycle ones, all of the corners are oriented, so very interesting mistake to make. But yet again, he's up 1-0, so who am I to judge?
Dylan looking to put that 768 out of his head. Pretty Locky, though, working through F2L. Finishes it there. Quick last layer, a 713 for Dylan. Not thrilled with that one either.
This was another type of solve that looks like he could have done 72 moves and gotten 10 TPS on this one. He never stopped turning from pickup to put down. He had a little bit of a lockup right there, but just so many turning inaccuracies. It's unfortunate to see from somebody so experienced. I think that he will have a little bit of a warm-up period, but then I think he'll come back with a vengeance.
Yellow cross here for Samir. Didn't see something he liked. Now through F2L. Soft tap of the timer. 9:41. And Dylan's right back in it. We're deadlocked at 1.
Yeah, the winning times so far have been 7:14 and what just won? Or what on the first one? A mid-7. It was 7:58.
7:58.
Yeah, so a lot of mid-7s going on in this one. Some worse, some... We got a low 7. We got that going for us. But so far, Do Kwang versus William, I believe, was a very intense first three solves, something that we would actually expect out of this matchup. But, PSL's random like that.
It sure is. Much smoother turning here, Dylan. Quick last layer, a 579. Well, from a medium rare kind of esque solve to a little more well done.
That's a very interesting way to put it, but yes, I tend to agree. So this solve, he again does not stop turning from pickup to put down. Very quick turning, as he always does, and then right here is where the solve goes wrong. He misrecognizes the angle of the G perm, which is what he was upset about. So this definitely could have been like a high 4 or a low 5 if he had recognized it. And then Samir is looking at his cube like it is talking to him in Chinese. This is unfortunate.
Ouch, a 9-14 there for Samir. Dylan's up 2-1. See if we can go back and take a look at what exactly Samir did not like from this solve here, because he noticed something right away that he just shook his head at.
Yeah, after his cross, it looked like his first pair was incorrect. Like what he had inspected was not what was on the cube. Something is going on down there in the arcade. I'm not quite sure what. Samir might be switching his cube. He looked like he was motioning towards his cube, and now he's taking the one he was competing with and taking it back to the arcade. So maybe he's mad and he's going to throw it at one of those knock the clown down with a ball machines. That'd be a way to take out your anger. What do you think so far of the kind of rocky solves that we've seen, and then where do you think it's going to go from here?
Yeah, it's been kind of a rough start here for both competitors in this one. Dylan getting a 5-second solve just a few moments ago. Again, when you get to later in the competition, I also think the spotlight is a little brighter. This is where results matter. This is where things matter, and the pressure is on you more. And again, let's remember, Luke, Dylan already punched his ticket to Las Vegas for the PSL Championship. But as competitive as Dylan is, he wants to try and keep his winning ways going here in Seattle. And taking a look at the last replay here of Samir, this was his 9-14 that he just didn't like right off the bat. But yeah, I think, again, as the spotlights get brighter, the stakes are more high in this competition. So both cubers, I think, just have got to settle into these earlier solves here. Again, just try and find that groove. As you've mentioned a few times, maybe slow down that turning just a little bit to sort of calm your nerves. And once you're confident in your own abilities, then you can try and speed things up again.
Yeah, definitely. That's the sort of mental reset that Samir should be taking right now during this timeout. It looks like he's turned his cube in again. Maybe he was lubing it or retensioning it or something. But either way, he's ready to go again, and we'll get started here very soon. Dylan has an early 2-1 lead. He's starting to heat up. Hopefully Samir used this timeout to his advantage. He can heat up, and then Dylan can cool down. But anything can happen in this PSL league.
Sure can. Anything can happen. Winners finals here from PSL Seattle. Winner will be moving on to the grand finals. The loser of this one would go down to face Do Kwang in the lower finals. 11 seconds of inspection here used up by Dylan as he works on White Cross. Massive lockup there through F2L. On the last little locky there, an 8-15.
That was just all over the place, if we're being honest. Like, his pickup was not great, and then his turning really never never recovered. Every pair took longer than took a little bit shorter than the last one, but that start was not at all what he was looking for. Samir's going to have to try to safety this and beat an 8-15.
He's very capable of doing it, just has to calm those nerves. Pretty smooth turning right out of the gate Finishes up F2L on the last layer, puts it down with a 770. He does just that. We're square at 2.
He does, and then we're going to have a deciding solve right here. Dylan's going to have to go first, which he's more comfortable with, and then Samir obviously has tied it up here. He's getting more used to this, the arcade noises. He's getting more used to going second against Dylan. He's going to have to bring it here on this one. Both of them are. So let's see how Dylan can start it out and then how Samir can respond.
For sure. 8:15 Dylan got just a few moments ago. You could see him visibly just not happy with that one. Can't try and bottle up those emotions here this late into the competition, and Dylan will look to reset after an 8:15, a square at 2 in set number 1 of winners finals. A lot of inspection used up here for Dylan, and there he goes on White Cross. Better pick up. Big pause, though, as he's working on F2L. Quick glass layer. Little Locky puts it down with a 772. And again, Dylan not happy with that one.
And you can tell that he's not happy, too. Anytime a cuber treats their cube in a competition, they tap it towards the judge like you do right there. That's their way of saying, I don't want to have this in front of me right now. I want to rest. I want to reflect on my solve, the bad and the good. And then see how I can bounce back next time. But Samir is going to have to bring a 771 or better if he wants to get the leg up on Dylan.
Here he goes on White Cross, smooth turning, trying to get through F2L, does so. Quick glass layer, 681! Samir takes the first set.
Yeah, good use of a timeout there, and that set by Samir. He was down 2-1, calls a timeout to kind of mess with Dylan a little bit with his psyche because he's going first. So he determines what is going to win the solve. So very good use of strategic timeout there by Samir, getting into his head a little bit. But now Samir is the person who determines what solve is going to win. So is Dylan going to be able to respond, or will we see him go against Do Kwang in the losers final?
That's, again, all about strategy here, Luke. Dylan loves to be in that first spot. He knows he can put down the times, and we know that he can put down good times. But again, you mentioned it, with that timeout, Dylan has to sit there and think about it for quite some time. And I mean, if you linger on it too long, you're going to get in your head. Samir up 1-0 over Dylan Miller. Samir, should he take this second set, would be advancing to grand finals. Here he goes. Smooth turning here from Samir. Very quick through F2L. On the last layer. 579. Great stuff from Samir.
Samir came to the arcade, but he's not here to play. He's here to put down some serious times. And this one was, he had the signature index finger little twitch. And then, he had a very nice last layer. A lot of moves, but he never stopped turning, never locked up. Very satisfying to watch, even though he didn't do the ZB that he was hoping to get.
Like a well-oiled machine, layer by layer. Methodical process, just like you're cooking, I don't know, buttered chicken. Here goes Dylan. Needs to beat a 579 here in this one. White cross here for Dylan. Quick turning himself. Trying to recognize the last one. Gets it down with a 565. He's not happy with that one, but he does take the first point in set number 2.
So that's just a general feeling that he has right now. He's not in a good headspace, but that solve is the thing that's starting to get him back there. He actually did slow down his turning quite a bit there. Took his time, made sure that his solutions were good. There was a major difference in between that solve and the 5 that we saw in the first set.
2 5s from Samir and Dylan. Can they keep this pace up? Little Locky on F2L. Might have done the wrong moves in the last layer. 864 for Samir.
Dylan's starting to feel good about himself. He stood up before Samir was done with PLL. He knew that he was like, okay, this is going to be a 8-something. I got this in the bag for sure. he predicted the the PLL wrong from the OLL. He thought it was going to be a U perm. It turned out to be an N perm, and then he had to fix it with a V perm. So that's why last layer looked to take a little while, and Dylan should be able to safety this easily.
Good pickup here from Dylan. Solid F2L on last layer. Nearly stopped the timer with a +2. Made the adjustment, a 663. He's up 2-0 in set 2.
Yeah, his turning is looking a whole lot better. His solutions are looking a whole lot better. Just taking a step back and slowing your turning down really does make all the difference. Although on this one, he's kind of trying to turn into Dylan Miller when he's in his prime, and that's when he's turning really, really quickly. He has really good solutions, and he's not locking up. It's often pretty rare that all three of those things go on at the same time, but whenever he does hit it, oh man, full step 349s happen.
Yes, they do. And how about this from Samir? 512!
That's the Samir that I was talking about. He very, very quick turning, and he never stops. But Dylan's a little bit on a roll. He's trying to get that way. This was a yellow cross solve signature. A mistake on the execution there. So a lot of big potential on this solve, and Dylan, I think he knows it. He's trying to, calm his nerves a little bit. Here we go. Let's see if he can beat the 512.
Dylan always so methodical in his prep. And there you see it in the upper right, 512, the time to beat. Here goes Dylan on yellow. Quick turning for Dylan through F2L, puts it down, 530 DNF. Indeed, Samir stays alive.
Yeah, that's the type of situation where you really have to go all or nothing. And unfortunately, this time it was on the nothing side. Very quick turning, very good solution. Unfortunately, just did the wrong ZBLL in an all or nothing moment. Yeah, he did the right COLL, but he was left with a U perm right there. 512 is very difficult to beat, especially in a place like this, going against a great competitor like Samir.
Samir trailed 2-1 in set number 1 before taking the final 2 solves. That 512, can that spark something for him here? Working on white this time. Smooth turning again from Samir. Quick last layer, a 601 there for Agarwal.
I can confidently say 601 is exactly like in the range of the most annoying solves to go second after. Because it's not slow enough to where you're like, I can easily safety this, but it's not fast enough to be like, okay, I really need to go all out. It's in this annoying middle ground. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some sort of slip up right here from Dylan. But if he's able to recover and able to, put that 601 in its place, then I also wouldn't be surprised either. It's just, is he going to rise to the occasion?
Should Dylan take this one, we'd be going to the set number 3. Quick turning from Dylan, trying to make up for it in the last layer. 587! He does that, and we are going to set 3.
We sure are. He responds in just the right way, and it doesn't look like he's very happy it's going to a third set. He wants to be done with cubing for today, I bet. It's almost 8 o'clock in Lexington, so it's almost 5 o'clock in Seattle. That's a full work day of cubing that he's had to do so far. But decent OLL, executed very well, and then a V-perm that he also executed very well, even though I disagree with the algorithm that he uses, but worked for him that time. So he's going to have to set the standard in this third set because he's going first. So Dylan's going to have to Samir is going to have to bring it whenever Dylan brings it, and then be able to bring it just the right amount whenever Dylan leaves the door open just a little bit.
Hold on to your hats here, folks. Set 3 in winners finals. Winner of this will move on to grand finals, and the loser would head down to play Do Kwang in the lower finals. Dylan first to solve in this deciding set number 3. Here he goes. Decent pickup. Very quick turning from Dylan. Already through F2L. Last layer, 507. That's a good start for Dylan.
very interesting maneuver on the last pair right there. It looked like he was trying to get EO, and then he realized that if he was able to sledge it in, he would get an OLL skip, and then was able to keep on going. Let's see what was... Yeah, commutator, sorry, in the back, and then followed by a sledge in the back. I mean, I guess that equals a 507. Samir's going to have to bring it.
Yes, he is. 5:07, the time to beat. Not the best pickup here for Samir. See if he can make up for it in his turning. Quick last layer, 574. Quick, but not quick enough. Dylan's up 1-0 in set 3.
Mm-hmm. There's a pretty big difference between a mid or high 5 and a low 5. And that difference can be as simple as just a lockup or a turning inefficiency or one missed pair when you're looking ahead. It can really be as little of a mistake as that or as big of a mistake as like a cube drop or something. But very big difference between those two times, and both very impressive, but 5-0 is going to win most of the time, no matter who you're against.
Dylan up 1-0 in set 3. Big lockup, though, on the pickup there. Trying to make up for it in his turning. On to last layer. Another +2. An 855. My goodness.
Dylan not impressed with his performance right now. He's going to have to find a way to pick it up because he's still got a couple more rounds to go. Next couple of solves will depend on how many solves he really has to do if he wants that $500 prize. But it looks like he's going to have to do at least 2 more in this set, unless disaster strikes Samir. But I think that he'll be able to safety this. Hope I don't commentator's curse him, but we'll see.
Don't ever let anybody tell you that it's not a thing, Luke, because it absolutely is a real thing. Here goes Samir on yellow cross. Smooth turning, finishes with some MU moves. 629. That time the commentator's curse not to be there for you. We're squared up at 1 in set 3.
Yeah, very impressive there, keeping his composure, especially on a ZBLL that he didn't know. He did the right thing. He did COLL and then an H-perm. H-perm was a little locky, but, you know, he had 2 seconds that he could have 2 more seconds that he could have taken for that H-perm. So no complaints from me. Perfectly reasonable solve to go up against a 8-second solve.
New opportunity here for Dylan after that +2 got him an 855. But a tough night for him here. See if he can make up for it with this one here. Good pickup, little locky. Quick last layer, though, 572. Much better from Dylan.
Much better. And he didn't +2 on the A-perm AUF this time, but he still does not look impressed. He looks like he wants to pick it up now. Let's see what tactics he can use in the next couple of solves to ensure that he doesn't have to do, 2 more sets against Do Kwon or 3 more sets against Do Kwon even. He wants to advance to the winner's final and do it now, and that type of turning on that A-perm is exactly why I believe that. I think he's like, okay, I need to turn well now. I need to finish this off.
Samir starting off turning well, locking up. At the end, 591. Dylan's up 2-1, and Luke, if he hadn't locked up on the pickup there, that had the potential to beat Dylan.
It sure did, yeah. Very nice last layer case there, but the worst way to get the H-perm is when there is a U2 at the end of it, and that's exactly what happened to Samir. So he's down in a 1-2 hole, and he has to go second against Dylan. So, provided Dylan gets something decent here, Samir is going to have to bring it twice if he wants to take this set and this match, advancing to be the 1 seed in the finals.
Dylan up 2-1 in set 3. We're tied in sets 1-1. Winner of this moves on to grand finals. Good pickup and good turning here from Dylan. Quick last layer, 526.
exactly what you want if you're Dylan Miller. He turned the turning on just like I thought he would. He doesn't want to do much more 3x3 today. And the shorter the solves are, the less 3x3 you have to do overall and during just the solves. But very good look ahead. First two pairs in the back, and then last two pairs very solid. Soon G-Perm, very straightforward solve, but he executed it very well. And Samir is going to have to clutch this out. Doesn't look confident.
Doesn't look happy with the scramble. Solving on yellow cross here. This isn't going to do it for Samir. Soft tap of the timer with a 7.66. And Dylan's moving on to grand finals.
He's in the position he wanted to be in. Now he has to sit and wait for Samir and Do Kwang to duel it out. And then we will see who's going to join him in the finals here after this quick commercial break.
Moving to one of the shelters that I lived in, just going outside, you'd realize and notice all the people and how dangerous they were thinking, the thoughts that they were thinking of doing.
I think the worst thing that I've been through was watching my dad get arrested in front of me. Well, it was really hard seeing my mom be broken. And I just hated seeing her like that.
Join For the Need in breaking the cycle of homelessness for children. Together, we can make a difference. Donate today at fortheneed.org.
Hey, we're your Speedcube shop. We are your one-stop shop for anything cubing or puzzle related and have something for everyone, beginner or pro. If you want the best of the best, allow us to lend you our years of experience and consider one of our premium setup Speedcubes. Our team of experts will dial in your Speedcube by applying lubricants and adjusting the settings so that when your cube arrives, you're ready to start crushing your PBs. Have any questions? Our team is available via phone, live chat, or email to help get you on track. Tap the link to find your next challenge or upgrade and enjoy what we and many others consider to be the best shopping experience around.
So leave my sweater on the board. I'll leave your bag under the stairs. Don't go back to our old place. It's probably locked up anyway. I bet it still looks the same as when I ran away that day. Doesn't matter anyway.
We're back at GameWorks Arcade for PSL Seattle. Michael Rosencrans, Luke Greiser with you. And we are now getting down to the final stages of this competition. We have 3 remaining. Dylan Miller, Samir Agarwal, Do Kwang Hong. Right now it's the lower finals between Do Kwang and Samir. And we're just about ready. Let's send it back down to Michael Chai.
Samir, you're the higher seed. Would you like to go heads or tails? And he's going tails. And it is heads. Do Kwang, would you like to go first or second? And Do Kwang is going first. Do Kwang to the solving station. Samir to the bench. Competitors, good luck. As a reminder.
Well, here you go. Do Kwang versus Samir. And as you just heard by Michael Chai, it is the first 2 sets. Winner of this will be moving on to face Dylan Miller in the grand finals. Luke, what are you looking forward to about this one?
I'm looking forward to, this is going to be a battle of TPS versus smooth turning. I'm very curious for who's going to win this. Do Kwang is on the more TPS side of things. He relies on his very quick turning and his ability to look ahead to the next pair, whereas Samir, he has very good look ahead, but his turning is a lot more smooth and controlled. So let's see which turning style is going to prevail and go head-to-head against Dylan later.
Do Kwang solving first in this lower finals. Pretty locky there trying to finish up F2L. Soft tap of the timer with an 8:43.
Yeah, unfortunate cases right there. But most unfortunate of them all was the last F2L pair. Once we get to it, I'll show you why. Right there, he went to do an EO trick, and he locked up on the F move about 3 or 4 times. So that was where about 2 of the 8 seconds of that solve went. So now Samir just has to safety it, solve the cube, turn very smoothly like he knows he can, and then he'll have the first solve in the bag.
Those lockups can cost you precious seconds. A little lockup there from Samir. Another one trying to get through last layer. 782. He's able to avoid disaster. He's up 1-0.
Flirted a little bit with the disaster right there, but he was able to execute that R2 F2 GC perm well enough. He solved several pairs in front right, which is not exactly what you're looking for. And then that's a OLL that's kind of unfortunate to look ahead to, especially when you get something like a GC perm, which is hard to look ahead to in the first place.
Smoother F2L here from Do Kwang. Puts it down with a 557. That's much better.
Very impressive. At the beginning, we saw... which competitor was it that got an OLL skip and a 595? Was that William or was that Walter?
That would have been Walter.
It was one of.
That would have been Walter.
It was Walter. Yeah. So Do Kwang here canceled into his OLL. So he did a commutator for the last F2L pair, and then instead of just doing an R, he canceled into the OLL that he got. Very impressive to see.
Samir trying to make up for it. He won't be able to do so with a 681. We're square at 1.
Yeah, it's a little bit all over the place in these first 2 solves. That solve is not something that Samir wants to dwell on for too long. Looks like Dylan and him are talking now. Get a little smile from him. Always good to see after a bad solve.
Yeah, always good to try and keep the spirits up. Over in the waiting area, Do Kwang through F2L and might have done the last layer incorrectly. 829 there for Do Kwang.
He did his first layer incorrectly, unfortunately. It's even worse of a mistake. He had to do a full X2 rotation at the end and then apply a H perm to his first layer because he solved cross. Well, first he tried to do OLL with F2L not finished, and then he had to solve it, and then he had to rotate. That was a whole big mess, I think. Whoa! Wow, 461
Look at that, 461 from Samir. He takes the...
Samir liked that solve a lot better.
That's not quite a PSL record for Samir, but a very impressive 461. Let's see what happened here. Just so fluid, Luke.
Yeah, unbelievably fluid. You said it. Every case went straight into the next one.
Do Kwang, little Locky on his last layer, 743.
Looks like the nerves might be getting to him just a little bit. He has opted to stand in between the solves as opposed to sitting down in the waiting chair. Interesting strategy. I would sit and rest and then kind of try to clear my mind, especially after a solve that I know is probably going to get beaten. Yeah.
Samir does that with a 612, and he takes set number 1.
Huge lead getting the first set in this PSL. Honestly, last pair could have been way better, but then OLO was pretty good, and then T-Perm was even better than pretty good. So went straight into it, safetied the timer stop, and made sure that he was going to win that solve and the first set.
And there again, you see Do Kwang opting to stand back there. That waiting chair back there, you can barely see it because, again, the lighting is just not there. Almost like it's off in its own little spot, like it's in the boondocks or something. I don't know. But now Samir solving first in this second set. after taking set number 1 3-1. He's looking to keep on this pace. Little slow start, trying to make up for it in his turning. Locked up there on the last layer, 649. Samir not happy with that one.
Yeah, he lucked out a little bit with that 6-move OLL, and then his recovery from that OLL into the PLO was pretty good. Just a lot of rotations in this solve. He had a Y2 in the middle and then another Y immediately after it, and then wrong angle for the PLL execution. That could have easily been a mid-5, maybe even a low-5 without all of the rotation issues.
Do Kwon, another series of lockups for him here. Samir's going to take this one. Do Kwon puts it down with a +2 at 12:57.
Not what you want to see at all. But he's down 2-0. It's now or never if you are Do Kwon. Oh, excuse me. Samir still has to go, doesn't he? No.
Samir's solving first in set 2. Yep.
Yeah, so Samir he just has to try to get something solid and put it away, and Do Kwon, he's walking on a tightrope now. This is match point.
And Samir again, not seeing something he likes on the scramble here. See what he can work with on it. White cross the choice for him here. Pretty long F2L there. Puts it down +2. 982 for Samir. That's just one he's got to put behind him, Luke.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's got 2 more chances to go after, assuming that Do Kwon doesn't hit something called disaster on this next solve. He'll have 2 more chances to put this away, but that's the solve you need to learn from, and you need to learn to never do something like that again. Sorry.
To put it bluntly, that's coming from a cubing coach, ladies and gentlemen. Do Kwon, quick turning for him here. 567 for Do Kwon, and he gets on the board.
He does 5, 6, 7, 8 to put up on that stack mat, but now it's it should be 2-1, right?
Nope, I think it is actually 1-1, unless we might have missed something.
Oh.
Should be 1-1 still.
Okay, cool. Well, I was completely wrong with my analysis about 2 minutes ago then. Do Kwon is still very much in it then. Samir starting his 3rd solve at this set.
Oh my goodness, massive lock up there through F2L. Frustrated, soft tap of the timer with a 978. Ouch.
You want to know the worst part about that solve, Michael? He got a PLL skip. F2L took about 7 seconds, and then the cube drop took the rest of the 2. PLL skip on a 9.7 second solve is not when you want to use one of your PLL skips.
For sure, a 641 there for Do Kwon. He takes advantage of the mistakes by Samir. He's up 2-1.
Yeah, we might see a gentleman's sweep here if Samir doesn't get his smooth turning back under control. I said it was going to be a battle between TPS and smooth turning, and we've seen the smooth turning in set 1. It hasn't really made an appearance in set 2. Samir's been very locky, succumbing a little bit to the pressure of going first. It might just be that discomfort that's getting them.
12 seconds of inspection used up for Samir. Another couple lockups. Quicker F2L puts it down with a 635. It's a good way to rebound.
Yeah, 635 is again in that very annoying range that's very hard to beat whenever someone else gets that. 601 was the Dylan Miller time earlier that was in that annoying range to beat. But this time, Do Kwon is going to have to bring it and have a pretty good solution if he wants to take this 2nd set.
Good pickup and turning from Do Kwon. He's still keeping on going. Puts it down with a 593. We're going to set 3.
We sure are. That was a very solid very, very, very solid set or solve there from Do Kwang, excuse me. And now he will have the pleasure of going first. Neither one of the competitors that have gone first has won their respective set. So maybe going second is the move, or Do Kwang is going to have to break the rule that I just said. He was able to fumble on the end of that U-perm and still be able to stop the timer 0.4 seconds before he needed to. So he's going to have to bring that same energy into here. And Samir is going to have to bring the set 1 energy into this third set if he wants any chance of coming up against Dylan and going after that first prize.
No doubt, both Samir and Do Kwang have already competed in Seattle before, back in last October, so they're familiar with this environment. And now one of them is going to be moving on in this deciding third set here. Do Kwang solving first. Yellow cross for him here. Pretty efficient turning through F2L. Lucky last layer puts it down with a 686.
Last slot and last layer all had different turning patterns. So he had, last 2 slots and last layer. So third pair was a insert in the front right. Fourth pair was an insert in the back left. And then OLL was immediately having to switch to your right hand again. So having to go right, left, right might have tripped him up there a little bit going into last layer.
686 the time to beat for Samir. Quicker turning, trying to get through last layer. He does with a 631. He's up 1-0 in set 3.
A lot more comfortable going second. Both of these competitors are. And that's good news because Mr. Dylan Miller is more comfortable going first. So hopefully, if the stars align, we'll have a really, really entertaining final to watch where both people will be in their respective ups and downs at the same time.
Absolutely should be a fun grand finals, as hope is the finish for these lower finals as well. Do Kwang had a rotation in there, a massive lockup, puts it down, didn't stop the timer right away at 10:47. That's one he wants to put behind him.
Depp, you said it, and you could say it again, and you could say it again. He thought that he had his F2L done. Unfortunately, he was missing an edge. And then he did OLL, and then tried to solve the edge, again. This time was successful, and then he did a J-perm. Didn't stop the timer. That's one you want to throw away, because now Samir is more than likely going to beat this, and Do Kwang is going to have to come back with a vengeance if he wants to have any chance in the grand final.
There's the 731 for Samir, and he's up 2-0. He's one solve away from facing off against Dylan.
If I'm Do Kwang, honestly, I would call a strategy timeout right here. But that's not him. He's trucking on through. Let's see what he got.
5 seconds of inspection used up for Do Kwang. Through F2L, trying to make a quick last layer. Lots of lockups, a 746. The door could be open for Samir.
It could be definitely open. I think he's going to have no problem putting this down. The lesson for Do Kwang here, in my opinion, is he got there at the end. He only used 5 seconds of inspection. That's 33% of your inspection time. You can use way more of that and still be comfortable. He didn't take a strategy timeout or anything, even though Samir has beat him handsomely these last 2 solves. I think those are things that he can work on in the future. Overall, for PSL, WCA, general solving, that would be my takeaway for Do Kwang. But he's definitely a fantastic solver, and he is not going to walk away from here empty-handed, I don't believe.
He certainly won't. His tournament comes to an end, but he places third here in PSL Seattle. A great run for Do Kwang comes to an end. And once again, Luke, here you go again. A rematch. Dylan and Samir for grand finals, just exactly as it was back last October. Again, folks, fasten your seatbelts. Don't go anywhere. Grand finals of PSL Seattle coming up next when you come back on Speedcubing TV.
At For the Need Foundation, we are committed to transforming young lives through the power of mentorship. Follow us at For the Need on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date on how you can make change in your community. Together, we can prevent homelessness.
A 708!
No lucky turning here, and see you next week.
I want to keep going. Maybe that's what Dylan's trying to channel.
Back at GameWorks Arcade, a rematch of grand finals here from last October. 1 versus 2. Dylan Miller against Samir Agarwal. Will it be Dylan, the native of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or the local boy, Samir Agarwal, taking home the gold here in this one? And for Samir, he has an opportunity to clinch a spot in the PSL Championship. Should Dylan win, it'll trigger all-star voting for the first time in season number 2. Michael Rosencrans, Luke Greiser here with you. We're down to 2, and let's not waste any more time. Let's head down to the venue for Michael Chai.
The format of this match is going to be best 3 out of 5 solves to win the set. First of 3 sets wins the match. Each competitor is allocated 1 2-minute timeout. If Dylan wins, the match is over. If Samir wins, he resets the bracket, and he does this one more time to see if he can book his chance to go to Vegas. Dylan, you are the higher seed, and you also advance from the winner's bracket. Would you like to go heads or tails?
Tails.
And he's going tails. And it's tails. It never fails. Dylan, first or second? And Dylan's going first to the solving station. Samir to the bench. Competitors, good luck. As a reminder, the format of this is going to be best 3 out of 5 first to 3 sets.
Well, Dylan, once again, very thrilled at the result of the coin toss, and he's in the position, again, he wants to be solving first. And here you go, Dylan Miller, Samir Agarwal in grand finals. Luke, I'm pumped. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm very ready. Both of them are starting out in their respective preferred positions. Dylan going first and Samir going second. So if one of them, if they split sets 1 and 2, we'll see who is really better at going their respective position, first or second. So I'm very excited. I have high hopes. Let's hope at least one of them pops off, gives us some good solves.
Dylan's had a lot of time to sit after winners finals. Let's see how that translates into his first solve here. Starting off with yellow. Quick turning, little locky from Dylan as he navigates through F2L, able to do so there. Quick last layer, 765 for Dylan.
Cube swap already, not what you want to see at all if you are Dylan Miller or a Dylan Miller fan. That's bringing back some bad memories from PSL Michigan when he was having similar cube swap issues. Samir only has to beat a 765, which was yellow cross. F2L wasn't executed very, very well. Maybe he blamed that on the cube, didn't want to use the one that had that specific one. Samir now doing some math in his head.
Quick turning for Samir, still going. Little Locky puts it down with a 685. He's able to get the job done. He's up 1-0 in grand finals.
Yeah, the last 10 moves of that solve took about the same time as the first 50, unfortunately. Very smooth going through F2L and then OLL rather, but then that U-perm plus U2 algorithm is one that's a little bit frustrating to get exactly right, but he still had plenty of time to finish it and then take the first solve in this grand final.
Dylan looking to put that 765 behind him here. See what he can produce on set number 2, solve number 2. Another slow pickup again. Very locky as he navigates through F2L. A quick last layer, a 794, so another 7-second solve for Miller.
Yeah, he might have been sitting a little too long. He's now doing the Do Kwang strat of standing up, taking a bracelet off, looks like, and putting it in his pocket. So a little superstition coming from Dylan about the cubes, maybe something on his wrists or arms that's messing with his turning, but he needs to figure out whatever's going on, and he needs to put a stop to it, because I don't think he wants to have a bracket reset on his hands.
Fluid turning from Samir.
Oh,
puts it down. Oh my goodness, that's a DNF. Oh my goodness, Dylan with a 794 has tied it up at 1.
That is so unfortunate. I feel so terrible, but I mean, in Dylan's case, getting lucky is not a crime. That solves that he's done so far. We're definitely not lucky, but the greatest stroke of luck in today's competition has happened right in front of our eyes just now. Couldn't execute. Samir couldn't execute the J-perm exactly right, and then stopped the timer prematurely, even though he had another second to do the last couple of moves of the algorithm. Will that come back to bite him? We'll just have to see, but definitely not a mistake that you want to make more than once.
Especially this far into the competition where Dylan just has to win 3 sets here. Samir has to win double that amount, 6 sets. Already seen a bracket reset already in PSL Davis, where Kyle Santucci came back to defeat Dylan and claim his ticket to the PSL Championship in Las Vegas coming up this October. So far, it's been Dylan and Kyle Santucci are the 2 competitors who have clinched the PSL Championship. Will Samir be the 3rd? He's got a long way to go to figure that out.
6 whole sets.
And once again, Luke, anything can happen in the Premier Speedcubing League.
Dylan looks frustrated with this scramble.
He sure does. Let's see what he can produce here. Fast pickup. A little quicker turning here through F2L relatively quickly. Locky last layer, a 582. So a better time for Dylan, but still just not too thrilled with what he's seeing so far.
Yeah, sometimes that is actually a thing, though. I've noticed sometimes whenever there's a scramble that's terrible for both white and yellow, it helps me look ahead better. And that's exactly what looks like what happened for Dylan as well, because it helps you, like, I can only see so much, so my look ahead has to be really good, and then you rely on it and it works out. It's a great feeling, but Dylan doesn't look like he feels great right now. I think he wants to take care of some business.
Locky last layer for Samir, 753. He takes care of business there. Does Dylan? He's up 2-1.
It's a very, very big mistake that Samir made going for the premature timer stop, because the stakes could be completely flipped right now. It's a lot harder to come back from down 2-0 if you're Dylan, rather than 2-1 if you're Samir. So he's going to be kicking himself over that, but he shouldn't be. He should be focusing on the next couple of solves that he has to do to redeem himself from that.
Dylan trying to keep up the momentum after a 582. Better pickup, much quicker turning from Dylan. Efficient last layer, nearly a +2. Another fumble, stops the timer with a 767. Oh my goodness.
He doesn't look too happy about that. Frankly, I wouldn't either. He wants so badly to. It was really just, you can't help but feel bad. I mean, he had to pick up the cube 5 times after he already thought it was solved. Let's see if Samir has learned his lesson from last time, though, and we'll solve the cube on a safety solve this time.
Big lockup, though, on the pickup, trying to make up for it, trying to safety his turning. Efficient MU moves a 646, and we are square at 2 in set number 1.
We are. We could be on set number 2. So, but again, Samir's going to have to do take one more solve away from Dylan in order to conquer this first set in this grand final. And if you're Samir, you definitely want every advantage you can get because you have to win 6 sets. Dylan only has to win 3.
Yes, he does. We know Dylan is more than capable of putting down a good time. Let's see if he can do so. We're deadlocked at 2 in set number 1 of grand finals. See what Dylan can produce here using 12 seconds of inspection. Works on yellow. Smooth turning for Dylan here. Finishes F2L. Quick last layer, a 626 for Miller.
We're in the annoying range again. It's annoying because if you're the solver, you want something slightly better than that. And if you're the person going second, you want them to be, you wish they were slightly worse because you're not exactly safetying anymore. You got to put your solutions and turning to the test. I do like the move of Dylan of using more inspection time, though, to kind of calm himself and be more secure in what he wants. Dylan made a face behind the scenes. He knows that he's got this first set in the bag.
He does indeed. Dylan takes the first set of grand finals. Samir had a bad lockup to start out and try to make up for it in his turning, but still very locky in that solve. And once those two things happen, you almost have no chance.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate because this state of the match right now could be completely flipped if it wasn't for a couple of missed turns on solve number 4 from Samir, or solve number 3 from Samir, that is. But that's the type of thing you got to put behind you now. It's not a factor anymore. The only factor right now is you're down 0-1 and you're fighting from the ground up. So it's time for Samir to, go Samir mode. He needs to pretend like he's solving square one.
Yes, very, very well-rounded square one solver. And again, doesn't see something he necessarily likes on this scramble. Works on yellow. Pretty fluid turning, nonetheless. Fumbles the cube. Makes the adjustment, puts it down with a 774. We've seen a couple instances of that, Luke, just going for the premature timer stop, and that has been creating some really bad mistakes from these really high-level competitors.
Yeah, it might be a nerves thing. It might have something to do with four-pad, like I have to stop the timer this precise way, so I need to get the cube on the table this as fast as possible. It could be something like that, but I'm not really sure. The only thing I do know is it's not what you want to happen in your solves, for sure.
Quick turning from Dylan, a 5-10. He's up 1-0 in set 2.
Yeah, that's one of the better solves that we've seen so far. I think we've only seen 2 4-second solves today from Samir and Do Kwang Hung, the other one. We've seen a 485, and then Samir got a 461 not too long ago. But 5-1 is nothing to sneeze at, especially if you're in a grand final and in a winning position.
Samir down 1-0 early in set number 2. Finally gets through F2L. Quick MU move, 636 for Samir.
Just not quick enough. There was nothing wrong with the solution, really. It was just not quick enough, unfortunately. Y2 rotation there could have been avoided. I did like that pair that he did for, I think it was his third or his fourth pair. He did some trick with like wide U moves. I know what he did, but I can't describe it without a cube. So you'll just have to trust me that it was cool.
Not as long as you have a cube sitting on your desk, Luke. Then you can show the people out there.
Yeah, I guess so.
636, the time to beat here for Dylan. Finishes up F2L. Locky last layer, 616. He takes that solve by 0.2 of a second.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to make sure that you get a 6-1 instead of a DNF 5-9. So right here, struggled at the very end, but making sure that he gets those last turns in. Very important, learning from his mistakes of prematurely stopping the timer.
Smear's got to try and pick it up here. He's down 2-0.
No,
A
and the timer's
massive
still going.
fumble. Oh, no. And yes, the timer still went to 7:99, and it just goes from bad to worse for Samir.
So unfortunate for Samir right there. That was going to be a low mid-5, something like that. Yeah, very smooth last layer up until the last 2 moves, and then he did, completely the wrong moves. Angry timer stop, and looks like Dylan is going to take this second set pretty easily with a sweep.
Once again, at 7:99, the time to beat for Dylan. Gotta skip a 5 flat, and there's a clean sweep of set 2.
Yep, bring out the brooms. We got a clean sweep. We got a 5-0 with, I believe, was a lefty Fatsoon PLL skip. I know it was a PLL skip. Not quite sure what the OLL was, though. But any sort of clean sweep is you're going to be happy with if you're Dylan. Yep, lefty Fatsoon, no AUF PLL skip. And Dylan is in his wheelhouse. He has to win 3 more solves in order to go home with that $500 check. But game's not over. Job's not finished. Samir definitely can come back. It's just a matter of will he.
It is, and it's been kind of an interesting competition for everybody today with the 4-pad mode instances that we had earlier today to now what we're seeing with the premature timer stops in a way of just trying to get through the solve as fast as he can and trying to put down as fast of a time as he can. And these cubers trying to take advantage of each other's mistakes, and so far Dylan doing just that over Samir. He is a commanding 2-0 lead in the sets, and Luke, as you already mentioned, Dylan needs to win 3 more solves, and he will be declared the winner once again of PSL Seattle. He'll keep his winning ways going in the Emerald City. Dylan first to solve in this third set, in the position he wants to be. Let's see what he can produce here. Good pickup, smooth turning here as he works on White Cross. Quick last layer, 540. That's a good start for Dylan.
That's the most quality or highest quality solve that I've seen from anyone so far today, I believe. Never stops turning. There's a bad OLL, but he executes it quite well. And then a perm with no AUF at the end. Very nice way to round out that solve. Yeah, that was the prettiest solve I've seen so far today.
Already the pressure on Samir here, trying to make up for it in his turning. Not going to be able to do so. A 638. Dylan is up 1-0 in set 3.
2 more solves left. Samir solve definitely had potential, but unfortunately the end perm was just a little bit too particular for him to be able to execute well.
Dylan projected coming into today nearly a 70% chance to win, and he looks to be well in control here in this third set. 12 seconds of inspection, a good pickup for Dylan as he works on yellow. A little bit locky, finishing up F2L, a 562. Good recovery.
Excuse me, I'm having some technical difficulties, but I've returned. Very ugly last couple of pairs from Dylan right there. Not what you want to see. I'm not aware of what the time was, though, so 560. So he was still able to make some mistakes and have a decent time.
It was a quick last layer for Samir, but can't get the job done. A 665, and Dylan is 1 solve away from shutting the door on this one.
Yeah, here we go. He knows it. He's ready to cash in that check. He's ready to be done cubing for the day. He's ready to go home or go back to the hotel, DoorDash some food. That's what I'd be thinking about at this point if I'm Dylan, what I would want to eat for dinner. But, you know, 1 more solve that you still have to do. Let's see how he does it.
Good pickup here from Dylan. Pretty smooth turning. Quick MU is a 589. Could that be the dagger?
It's entirely possible, but stranger things have happened in PSL. All eyes are on Samir Agarwal right now. Will he be able to go second like set 1 against Do Kwang Hung, or is Dylan going to have his second sweep of this match?
Here goes Samir. Quick F2L. Locky last layer puts it down. Plus 2! And Dylan wins sitting down!
Unfortunate end. One of the most unfortunate ends if you're Samir. Just one more turn could have given you a new life, but the silly mistakes, he made 2 of them, and they were costly. One of them cost him a set, the other one cost him the match, unfortunately. But Dylan Miller able to claim his back-to-back title in Seattle. Let's hear from him and Michael Chai.
It's cool. Everyone from different regions and stuff. Yeah, the atmosphere is always way different too. Davis is really, really cool. Yeah, just the experience and like the setup every time is different.
Yeah, the last set, you really turned on the Jets and you solved a lot of 5-second solves there. Was there anything that was different from before?
I got lucky.
All right, sounds good. And then, hey, we're going to see you in British Columbia in 2 weeks. Got any message for the fans watching?
Shout out, y'all. I'll be in Canada. I'm excited.
All right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Congratulations, Dylan Miller. PSL Seattle is over. Thank you all for watching. Have a great night.
Well, there you have it. PSL Seattle. Dylan gets the job done here in this one. I don't know, is that a little nod to the shout-outs? I don't know, form of jester maxing? I don't know if it was just... It's Dylan being Dylan. You gotta love his personality out there. But Dylan, able to get this one done. And Luke, for the first time, we have triggered all-star voting here in the Premier Speedcubing League.
That's right. That's right. Tell the viewers a little bit about what that means.
Absolutely. Anytime you have a duplicate winner here in the second season of the Premier Speedcubing League, it now turns to you watching the all-star voting. It will be open here pretty much, I would expect, very quickly after this competition to decide who had the most notable performance in this competition. Voting will be opening up to you for you to make that decision, and whoever comes out of all-star voting, they're going to get that bid to PSL Las Vegas. I should say the PSL Championship in Las Vegas coming up in October. So there you go. Dylan continues his winning ways in Seattle. Samir, an unfortunate ending, but he takes another silver medal here in this one here, Luke. Your final thoughts on this competition?
My final thoughts, 2 very strong candidates for all-star voting. Both of them put forth very, very valiant efforts. But Dylan, he has that experience, and it paid off for him this time. And I'm sure he's going to go home, go to the hotel, eat some food, and take a fat nap. I think he's very tired, very glad to be out of the arcade. But yeah, if you are wanting to get better, doing some analysis on things such as these, where you have top-down cameras and you can look at what professional solvers are doing. If you can look at what they're doing and understand it, then that's getting you one step closer to being a pro cuber yourself. So these are very useful resources, especially if you have a color commentator who knows what they're talking about. But most of the time, Speedcubing TV does really, really well picking out the right people for the job. So yeah, thank you guys very much for having me on. It's an honor always being color commentator for PSL matches. Congratulations to Dylan, Samir, and Do Kwang for their performances, and I will see everyone next time. Michael, take us out.
Alrighty, Luke. Great to have you on this one. I can't blame you for having Dylan wanting to DoorDash some food. Hopefully he does the Paul Reed meal in the nod of Pistons-Cavs Game 7 right now. Going on right now, but you never know. But anyways, that's going to do it for us here on our coverage of PSL Seattle. June 6th PSL Langley, and I'm not talking about Ella either. That's in the British Columbia. That's coming up June 6th. Mark your calendars. That's coming up in the beginning of June. So stay tuned. For the entire crew at Speedcubing TV, Matthew Marinick, Aaron Farrago, Lucas Aubin, for my broadcast partner, Luke Greiser, I'm Michael Rosencrantz saying so long from Seattle.